Coco.
Matty.
Coco meow. Meow. Hey, hold on. Come here. Oh, now my cat's leaving. My cat was going to join me. I have a big black cat, and I was gonna. My cat was going to sit here with us.
What's your cat's name?
Well, I call my cat Kitten, but her name is Zita. Zita. Zita.
That's very ethnic. What country is Zita from?
I don't know. Just it was a cool name. It began with a Z. I liked it. I'm like, Zita. It's do Zia.
I feel like you have an Afghani cat.
Maybe. Ooh, maybe she is.
My co-host he's out doing other things, but his name is Wesley. He will probably join us during the podcast as well.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Is this going live? Are we doing this live on the Bitcoin Live network?
No, I'm just recording today, and then Nick can do his thing afterwards. Going live is not good for me because I always have technical issues, Matty.
Yeah, I understand. No worries.
How are you today?
I am well. So you're in Australia this morning, correct?
I am. It is my Saturday morning, and it is your
fantastic.
Friday night.
Yeah, Friday afternoon, 2:00 Friday afternoon.
Okay, yeah, not too late. Let's kick off with a very important question.
Yes, I love important questions.
What is your favorite sandwich?
Oh man, my favorite sandwich. I'm a sucker for just a good tuna sandwich.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're a minimalist.
Yeah, I think just a good tuna sandwich because it's good for protein. It's a good source of protein. You don't need to put a lot of mayonnaise with it, so you keep it kind of light, healthy, and it's filling. I don't know. What's your favorite sandwich?
At the moment, I like. I oscillate between a few different favorites. I like a Cubano. That's probably my thing at the moment. I'm big on anything with pastrami.
Yes.
But
like cured meats. Yeah, I love cured meats.
Like a fistful of pastrami, like don't stinge on the pastrami. I want a fistful. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the tuna melt? I know it's like a bit of a controversial topic.
Yeah, I don't mind the tuna melt. Sometimes I do. I don't mind a melted tuna sandwich with maybe a little bit of cheese and the bread is toasted as well. It's got to be done right, though. That's a finer art. You're getting into the subtle nuances of sandwichery here, Absolutely. Coco. And so, yeah, you got to be a sandwich Jedi.
Some people would say that's a disgusting sandwich.
It can be if it's not done right. It can be, yes. Most people, I think, mess it up.
Okay. Well, let's kick off onto the topic, which I know you are a big fan of, which is Bitcoin.
Never heard of it. Don't know what that Ponzi scheme. Yes. Anyways, yeah. Bitcoin.
Yeah. Okay. So, how did you first get into crypto? Let's step back a bit.
Yeah, that must have been about 2016 or something like that. I was really interested into the Internet of Things and RFID, radio frequency, internet device and machine to machine communication. And so I started going down that rabbit hole. And then once I kind of got into IoT, Internet of Things, well, that obviously led me to the blockchain. And then you get orange pilled. And then next thing you know, you're a Bitcoin maxi. And so by 2017, I was like, oh, I see the light. I get it. I'm listening to Max Kaiser. I'm, drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm a Bitcoin maxi. And at that time, there weren't really, maybe there's like a handful, maybe 5 or 6 cryptos, and Bitcoin really was the one. But what to me at that point was obviously just the value prop and what Bitcoin means. The limited supply and all the other great talking points that we've come to know and love about Bitcoin. So when I got that, then that was kind of how I stumbled into it, was Internet of Things and researching those kind of machine-to-machine payments and stuff like that.
Okay, interesting. What advice would you, because I had a friend even last week asking for advice on their complete newbie, know nothing. What advice would you give to that person who wants to enter into crypto world? They don't even own a wallet yet.
Yeah, they don't even, so like self-custody and all that is like next level. Like we're not even going to go there. I would just say, you know what? To make it really easy, find something like Cash App or something like that, where where depending on where you're at in your country and what's allowed legally, but find something where you can set up a small reoccurring buy, maybe whatever you're comfortable with. Maybe that's $10, it's $50, it's whatever you can afford to. Like, I'm going to just make a reoccurring dollar cost average every week, every month, whatever that is, and just don't touch it and just go, you know what, it's there, and then like come back and like, oh wow, and while you're doing that, research listen to smart people, listen to great shows like this, listen to podcasts, go to events and do your own research and find out more about Bitcoin, why it's so unique, why it's so special. And then I think once you kind of go through those steps, you'll have a better understanding. And then you're going to want to be like, yeah, okay, I get why I need to self-custody. But I think the first step is just start dollar cost averaging on Cash App. It's simple. It's easy. The UX, the UI, like even my mom can be like, oh, I get this. This is easy. This button, right? So I think that's really kind of the way to go to answer your question.
Yeah, I like that because I'm a big fan of doing, not just learning. So I'm a big fan of just, my advice is always just buy a little, buy $100 worth if you're comfortable losing $100. Just look at it as a gamble at the casino table if you need to, and just buy it and just watch it and just watch what it does and have the visibility of it, and then it'll take you down that rabbit hole of knowledge, and you'll be a bit more why did that do that on that day, and then you'll start actually reading headlines and understanding why things fluctuate the way they do. So okay, I like that advice. And what do you feel about buying shit coins?
The Bitcoin maxi in me is like, no, shit coins are for, but then, here's the thing though, when I got into this a long time ago, I was really also very active when it came to Stellar, XLM. And at that time, staking in 2017 was still rather new. And I used a lot of staking to acquire actually Bitcoin. So if I had a substantial amount of XLM staked, I'd get inflation payouts every week. Well, I would just take those inflation payouts, flop that into Bitcoin. So basically it was a Bitcoin faucet and I'm getting free Bitcoin. So I'm not a hardcore maxi in the sense where like, oh, no shit coins ever, like Max Kaiser. I'm at least of the mindset where like, hey, use shit coins to help you get Bitcoin. And if you make some gains along the way, that's fine. I look at it more of probably from a conventional economic background as well, from like Matty Greenspan at Quantum Economics, where we kind of went over the fundamentals of having different buckets and allocation and bucket allocations to different assets. And that can even be asset classes, or even within the asset class, have like 60% exposure to Bitcoin, 20% exposure to ETH, and then another, 20% that you can divide up into smaller fractional buckets into 5, 10, so on and so forth. And then those might be smaller amounts, but those probably have a greater percentage to go up like that, right? So your one that's bigger, it's probably not going to have that big of an X, but you got more of your eggs there, versus the one that's smaller. You have a little bit of exposure, but man, if it X's and it goes up, you're still playing the long game. So that's how, and this is probably an even more advanced level than probably what, most folks are getting. I just want to buy some Bitcoin, man. Where's that Cash App button you told me about, kid? Hit the big button, give it to me.
It's true though, because even if you took crypto out of the equation, any traditional advisor will tell you to use a multi-bucket approach to investing. So you're going to do, if it's real estate, if it's shares, you want to do a little bit of some high risk, some low risk, some long-term gains, some short-term gains. So I like that. That's the approach I take as well. I do a little bit of risky shit coins. I think you can't just limit yourself to just one thing. When it comes to the asset classes, especially if the whole goal is to make money, right? Like that's the goal, is to make money. So do you believe in, like, I will say the term real world investing as well? Do you like real estate? Do you do other stocks? Or you're a
no, I think having exposure to all the different various asset classes when it comes to the world of investing is good. As a homeowner, obviously, I have real estate. I've got exposure in that, and here in Seattle where we live, the market's done rather well since we got in long time ago, and we locked in at like a 2.8 on a 30-year. So we ain't moving. You know what I mean? So we've got equity, so we're fine. But that's my main. But then other things like Nvidia, obviously, I'm kicking myself having sold the stock when it was like at 250 earlier this year, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Paper hands. But I will say this though, Coco, I think the big play, and this isn't financial advice, but I'm really excited, exposure off the Nvidia trade, where I think there's still a lot of upside, is when it comes to AI and medicine and biotech. A company I wrote down called Medtronic. Look for Medtronic, because they just announced this past week at the JP Morgan Healthcare Summit that they've got a big deal with Nvidia. And so I think that as Nvidia rises, this will help them rise. So you talk about other asset classes and other, parts, whether it's banks or financial services, et cetera. Healthcare is where I would really be looking for 2024, healthcare and AI.
It's so interesting you should say that, because I was just having a conversation about in Australia at the moment. So we are very, very conservative when it comes to all things, everything, all the time. However, we have never had really legal cannabis as an industry here.
And now we know how to pray for you. All right.
So now it's there's been some recent changes where we have had it medically available, but it's under really stringent rules and guidelines. So you basically need this long history of whatever it is, anxiety, depression. You have a doctor, you don't have a caseworker. Everyone would come together and tick a box where you can finally get this medical marijuana. But now apparently it's a lot easier to get, as in you can just do a telehealth call and a doctor will essentially give you that license. So I personally believe that we're going to see that industry open up a lot in the next couple of years.
Yeah, for Australia.
Yeah.
Now, are they like the big names that come to mind are like Canopy and Tilray are just the two that would they be making entryway into the Australian markets then?
I assume eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think the share market for cannabis here is going to be amazing, because I know a lot of people made a lot of money on the shares back when like America and Canada legalized. So I would see us going the same way. So I'm deep diving on that at the moment. I think that
excellent.
Very
good
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, what are your thoughts for, it's the beginning of the year, so 2024, what do you see for crypto this year, firstly?
Wow, crypto 2024. One thing I've been in this, and it's a good saying to always remember, nobody knows shit about fuck. Okay? That's like a crypto 101 saying, nobody knows shit about fuck.
I use that at work in the office all the time. But I work in HR, so.
That's right. So all that now that I've got the official disclaimer out of the way, it should be a pretty good year, obviously. With the ETF launch, we've got a halving coming up as well. I think we're going to see more nation states on board Bitcoin as a reserve currency, or at least in some follow the footsteps of El Salvador. So there's a couple countries already right there. I think it bodes well. I don't think that we're going to see that meteoric parabolic rise that everybody was kind of hoping for. Like, yeah, pump my bags, Gensler, let's go. But I think that we can still cautiously be optimistic that 100K is on the table by the end of the year. Certainly. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think that's, but there are some folks out there who I love and respect that they're calling for Omega candles at 1 million, when it's 1 million. So I'm like, wow. I
love those people though, because I mean, I don't listen to those people, but they get me. They're like a hype guy. It's just a guy in the back line going, oh, yeah, woo!
Yeah. But you know what though? But I totally get what you're saying, Coco. However, when one of these people that I see and hear and say this is an individual that's got a front row seat to onboarding nations around the world, who's worked with El Salvador. Okay. I'm talking about a guy who's worked with Adam Back at Blockstream. Okay. And Adam Back name dropped in the Satoshi's white paper, right? Yeah. OG cypherpunk. Okay. This is a guy that works with like Prince Philip of Serbia. Right. And they go around and they talk to nation states and they say, hey, this is why you need Bitcoin. He's hanging out with Bukele. Right. He runs a company. And so when he's saying these kinds of things, when the adults in the room and the grown-ups at the table are getting that kind of giddy, I'm like, I'm just a doofus in his parents' basement here drinking Coors Light going, hell, when are you going to pump my bags? And, so when these smarter people are saying it, it's not just the hype guy, right? If it was me saying it, I would be like, oh, yeah, don't listen to me. I'm an idiot. What do I know? But when it's these people who are like respected adults who work with then so it's very hard. And so I want to be cautiously optimistic as well, because I'm like, oh, my goodness gracious, but I think, again, back to your question, where do I see it in 2024? I think obviously the ETF as well. We'll probably see an ETH ETF, and everybody's obviously talking about the speculation around an XRP ETF. And so I think this is the year that, we go mainstream. We kind of get accepted into the main TradFi industry, and financial services embrace us. But I really think that it's after the halving that we're going to see the significant price increase with Bitcoin, because you look at the history of the halving charts and whatnot, and as they've followed, you've always seen that massive spike up, and it's always tend to follow, 12 months, 15 months. You look at it in 2021 when we had that up to 69, that was after the halving in 2020. So I really wouldn't expect to see that massive parabolic run up until after the halving, maybe 6 months out, maybe end of year. We're looking, things will probably, and then again, also end of the year, you factor in that the Fed is going to be probably cutting rates. There's always like, are we talking 6 rate cuts? Are we talking 3 rate cuts? Regardless, we're talking some rate cuts, and they're probably going to be here at the end of 2024, Q3, Q4. And so that's going to be a lot more free money that's coming back into the system, right? So if there's a lot more free money sloshing around and interest rates go down, that's only going to be good for Bitcoin, I think. But what do I know? I'm a guy in his parents' basement drinking Coors Light, hitting a vape pen, eating chicken wings.
Fire skins. It's so
I don't
true.
know.
Yeah, it is. It's like a general, it's interesting with crypto, because if there is a general positive sentiment, everyone starts jumping in. I was in my normie job, and I was listening to a bunch of old guys. They would chat, old like IT guys, and they were chatting about Bitcoin and crypto in general, just after the crash that we had anticipated last year. And obviously everyone who is sort of knowledgeable in the market, we knew there was going to be a 4-year crash as it anticipated, and it was obviously worse than anticipated, but it was an anticipated time. And I was just listening to these guys saying that like everyone has lost, they were happy about it. They said all these idiots have lost all their money. The crypto it's not a thing, it's fake money. It's a pyramid scheme. But they were kind of like rejoicing in the fact that people were destitute.
They were getting wrecked. Yeah.
It was like, I told you so, you stupid.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. And I think people like that, obviously, yeah, it's all about perception, right? So when things are down, people want to be super negative, and it doesn't exist and it's not a thing. But I'm sure when things are up, those people are interested. They're kind of like, how would I get into that market? So I think, yeah, perception really is reality, especially with crypto.
What are your thoughts for 24? There's a lot of hope and optimism, I think, out there.
Yeah, I think so. Like, we've just gotten off on a really good note to start the year, and things are sort of tracking in the way we expected. So if we're kind of hitting the goals that we set last year already early in the year, I think that's always going to be a good thing. It's all about sentiment. So I don't know if we'll hit 100K. I would like to think 80 would be nice. I think 100K will be 2025 personally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But hey, let's go 1 million.
You never know. I mean, I think you're probably more right than I am, because again, when you look at with the halving cycle and how when it hits, and that time period that follows, it generally is after that, and I think that's probably more in line. I'm just a little more optimistic because I'm like, I want these bags now. Let's go.
I know, I do get like that as well. I want to believe. I'm like Mulder and
right. Yeah, I do too.
I'm that guy. I'm like, what do you think about Aliens?
Totally. I love the movie. I thought Sigourney Weaver did a great job. Game over, man. Game freaking over. I love the movies. I think Ridley Scott. Oh, do you mean like the outer space kind? Yeah, those ones. I love them too. I think they're great. I've never met any.
Okay. But
have you met any?
I haven't met any. Would you be open? Like, if a spaceship landed now, would you be
I would so be open. I'd be like, you guys want to go get some chicken wings? I got a great spot. I'd be like, dude.
They're not going to be meat eaters, Matty.
You don't think so? Well, whatever. Maybe they can have some bourbon or a Foster's or, a Vegemite sandwich. We'll take them out for Vegemite.
Vegemite?
I just know about it from Men at Work songs.
Okay, it is the worst of the sandwiches. Don't.
I love how you brought it back to sandwiches. You're good. She's good.
Don't give the aliens a Vegemite sandwich. You know what? If they're pescatarian, though, you could maybe offer them the tuna melt if it's done really
okay, well. Yeah, right, yeah. You know, I think I would submit this though. Also on aliens, I think that not only are they aliens, but I think that they are also interdimensional beings.
I love that. I'm tick. Yeah, agreed. I would agree with that. What do you think about, what's your prediction for aliens in 2024? Do you think like we'll have more exposure?
I think as time goes on, you can't help but get more information. And I think we'll have more kind of stuff that's probably going to be like, hey, you can't really refute this. Like, this wasn't something like in Miami where we're like, oh, you know, whatever. I mean, I'm talking like this is going to be undeniable. Like, oh, hi, we really are here. And yeah. So, I mean, could it happen? Sure. Anything's possible. I do think that they do exist. I do think that we have, I mean, world governments have reverse engineered alien technology. I definitely believe that. I definitely am a subscriber of deep underground military bases like in Dulce and things of that nature. You know, so I do kind of, I do subscribe to those kinds of ideas.
We have one here.
You have a dumb?
We have one in Australia. It's like at the very top of Australia. And yeah, I'll have to find some information. I'll send to you.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's American owned base. And we cannot. It doesn't show up on Google Maps.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, you know it's okay. All right. Wow.
Yeah, totally cool. Yeah, okay. Well, I think it's always interesting that people are like, will they be, like, the conversation around aliens now seems to be if they'll be good or evil. And I think neither. Like, I think we are that's how we categorize things. It's like us thinking that if we've created this like concept of time and all beings will like oscillate around that, it'll be something completely different. They're just going to exist. They're not going to be good. They're not going to be bad. They might not even have an objective. They might just be.
They might look at us as ants, like people are.
They probably do. No, I think we're probably more like pets.
Yeah.
I think we're part of a bigger experiment.
Oh, see, there you go. Oh, now, oh man, you ever heard about the prison planet and the soul trap?
No.
Yeah. It's a whole other rabbit hole. Yeah. and the Saturn death cult. Oh my gosh. Troy McLaughlin. That guy's great too.
I'm going to have to read up on these concepts.
David Icke and the Saturn moon matrix. I go down the rabbit hole so far. Yeah. Okay. You know, David Icke. Everybody knows David Icke.
I got that impression of you.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, you know, I'm a total wacko.
Actually, speaking of wackos, what star sign are you?
I'm sorry. What am I?
What astrological sign are you?
Oh, let's see. Sagittarian. Yeah, I had to double check. Yeah, I'm Sagittarian. Yeah.
That fits. Okay, so tuna sandwich and a Sagittarian.
Sounds bad.
I'll be sending this information to the right people.
Okay.
Yeah, so okay. Well, I'm totally down with my other theory with aliens is when you said interdimensional beings. I also have a theory that we sometimes just can't see them. Like, and I'm not even meaning like aliens like sentient beings. There's just like things that are unseen by our eyes. So I feel like there's like different what we'd categorize as humans as other creatures. I think they're just around.
I totally agree with you, Coco, because everything vibrates at a certain frequency, and we as human beings are limited, as you well know, with what we're able to perceive on the RF spectrum and through our own eyes. And there's all this other stuff going on around us that's vibrating at different levels and frequency that we can't even hear. And if you wanted to even take that to a Judeo-Christian values type of thing, even in scriptures, it says we are dealing and battling against principalities in the air that we can't even see, right? So that's what they're talking about in scripture even. So I think there's a lot to be said for that, no matter what end of the spectrum you come from, you know, that there is something multidimensional here going on that we can't see because we are limited to this 3D world that we live in.
Yes, I like that. Just unplug from the reality. That's what it's about. Yeah. And I totally am all about like energy and like kind of what you manifest and what everything starts working towards getting and that type of thing as well. So we're going very woo-woo.
I love it.
Yeah, I bet you do. Vape on the side. Okay, so what other things are you thinking are going to happen for 2024? Do you have any like real life scenarios that you think are going to play?
Real stuff. Yeah, real stuff. I do. I mean, I've been very honest about saying this, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I think obviously Biden is not going to run in 24.
Yeah,
I think he's done. I think everybody kind of knows that one as well.
Do you think he's getting back in?
What's that?
Is Trump getting back in?
I don't know if he's gonna. I mean, he probably will.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that he doesn't is that if Michelle Obama runs. If Michelle Obama runs, she's a lock. She wins. She'll bridge the gap. She'll reach out to what they call the rhinos, the Republicans in name only. She'll be seen as this savior, this healing kind of unifying force for good, and harken back to good times during the Obama administration when things were good and the economy was good. And she'll have a good team of advisors around her, and she'll be accepted on the world stage. And that's how I see, really, because that's the only way to beat Trump. Is you got to have somebody who is that big, that powerful, that presence, or the only other. I mean, and if these court cases don't seem to be really having much of an impact in slowing him down and deterring him from the nomination, so obviously, Vivek Ramaswamy is a voice out there. I really enjoy what he has to say, and I think he makes a really good point that really it's Nikki Haley who's the Trojan horse here in all of this. Is that obviously Christie's out, Vivek's out. He's not going to be caucusing in Iowa, so it's really down to DeSantis, Haley, and Trump, and he's of the mindset, and I think a lot of others are as well, that Nikki Haley, because she's got the money from the Koch brothers, et cetera, that she's really kind of going to be that force that even some Democrats could be like, yeah, she's a woman, she's not Trump, she's and again, I think that's the thing. Nobody wants. I think the majority, if you ask most people, they don't want either one. We don't want to go back. We don't want any of that partisan, toxic bullshit. It's time to move forward, and we need to put the past behind us. But we need principles, policies, and put them into practice that are good for people. Now, whoever they are, I don't care if it's a right winger or a left winger. If you've got a good idea and it benefits people, then that's what we need to do.
Yeah, functional.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that, functional politics.
Yeah, maybe I should. That would be.
You should run. I'd vote for you.
Americans only let Americans in, though. It's super strange.
Yeah. Well, you could take over Australia.
Yeah. Well,
and Tasmania too.
Who cares about those guys? Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, it is interesting. Yeah, Biden definitely needs to, I would say, step down.
Yeah.
That situation isn't good. I don't know. Yeah, I have kind of no really firm opinion on the others, but I definitely think it's Biden's time to. Yeah,
he needs to go. And then I think the other big thing that we're going to see again is just the tensions on a global scale, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, and China is just kind of quietly sitting in the background, and Taiwan's over there. Taiwan just is about to have presidential elections, or they just had them, depending on when this comes out and when it's released. Yeah. But they're about to have their presidential elections here the next day. So there's a lot there, and China's influence in the presidential elections in Taiwan right now is kind of taking a big impact. So I think that will be a really big factor. And if there is any actions taken towards Taiwan or any kind of saber rattling there in the South China Sea and the Straits, that's going to cause a really big problem for chips, I think. And I'm talking Taiwan Semiconductors and NVIDIA and all those things. So that's where I think that the tech industry and the chip industry might be on some shaky ground if there's any kind of tensions there in the region.
Yeah, you're so right. China is almost like them sort of sitting back and waiting. It is like the perfect storm for something to happen. It was so strange. I had a really weird, I have very surreal dreams. I had a really strange dream about, it wasn't even a stressful dream, but I was in World War III, but it was in this mansion, and it was being so strange because I microdose. So
okay.
Explains so much.
I do that too.
Do you?
Yes.
That's why we have strange people.
Okay.
It explains a lot. So it was like a war, and I was part of the war, but some of my real life friends are there. It was a lot of women fighting with these large guns. And then it was in a ballroom of a mansion. The whole war was contained.
This sounds like this could be a great movie or something.
Really wacky film. Wes Anderson would have to direct it.
Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah. Get Wes.
And then I was useless because I left my weapon and I was like running around and I was like, fuck, where did I leave it?
Ooh, now is that a metaphor for something? Like, is that like, yeah, you left your weapon so you weren't able to fight in the battle? So what does that say? What does the weapon symbolize?
My own weapon though, but it was too big to shoot.
I have that problem every day. My weapon's too big to shoot and
Me too.
can't do it. What are you going to do? I don't know. Can't do it.
So, and then I woke up and then I read the news headlines and I was like, fuck, are we about to go into World War?
Like, oh my God, what's happening?
Surreal psychic dream. But anyway, hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Otherwise, I'm going to have to buy a whole lot of lentils. So that's where we're at.
Stock up lentils and toilet paper.
And that would be me as a politician. I'd be like, oh my God, I had this dream last night.
Here's what we're doing, people.
Everyone.
Lentils and toilet paper.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Well, we've hit our 30-minute mark.
Okay.
So thank you so much. You were so fun.
Well, thank you, Coco. Tell me the one thing that you are most excited about for 2024 before we go.
Ooh, that's a hard one. I mean, you know what? So I'm a traditional illustrator. I have a fine arts degree. So I came from like a traditional painting, like oil on canvas background.
Okay.
And a lot of traditional illustrators would be annoyed at me saying this, but I don't mind being controversial. So I'm excited about AI. I'm actually really excited about Midjourney and the advancements. Like we're just on Midjourney version 6 at the moment, and it looks fucking phenomenal. And I've actually started creating like AI fashion, like high fashion photography. So I'm actually really thrilled about that at the moment.
Is there some on your account that if I log on, I can see some samples, or is that kind of?
This is like I think I've released.
You're just starting, yeah.
Tiny little example on there, but I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of sent it to public yet, but yeah, it's very, very exciting. And I also have a background in photography as well, but more like kind of fashion portrait photography. So I know a lot of people, I guess, are fearful of AI taking jobs, which it will make some jobs obsolete. Absolutely. I don't argue with that. But I also kind of look at it from the perspective of when the camera was invented, photography didn't put painting, it didn't make painting obsolete. So why then would this tool then make traditional artists obsolete? I think all can exist in the same realm. I think there will always be a place for photography, traditional illustration.
Oh, of course.
And I think there is a place now for AI as well. So I'm actually really excited about that. And yeah, just advancements and things. I love new technology. I love when things, I'm a pro-change person. So I'm like you, the internet excites me and the fountain of knowledge. And I'm excited about plant medicines. This is going to be all about my 2024 as well. Like what's happening in plant medicine advancements. So yeah, I try and be positive. I know there's like a war looming, and according to my dream, it's going to be in a ballroom. But beyond that, I think there will be some really good things in 2024. And I'm definitely like, I'm trying to onboard my friends who are absolute like normies and they're scared of everything into crypto as well. So I want to see everyone succeed in this. It's like kind of like this pessimistic viewpoint, but I think we can all do well this year. Last year for me was a very stressful year. So this year I'm all about like old angry cunty me is in the bin.
I love it. Old angry cunty me is in the back. We're moving forward.
Dead. We killed that.
Yes.
We buried her. No, if I was mean to you in 2023, I'm sorry, but
I love it. I love your transparency. You're honest, though. I mean, I think that's the first thing. Like, you've got to be honest and own your shit, because if you don't own your shit, you're not going to be able to move forward. And I know I've been a self-centered, narcissistic douchebag for a lot of years, and I'm trying to repent to that. So your cunty self and my douchebag self ought to get together and go drinking.
Yeah. It wasn't just for 2023 for you though?
Oh gosh, no, it was since I got into Bitcoin, man. Since I became a toxic maxi, I was a self-centered, narcissistic douchebag, and like, oh, have fun staying poor, and laughing at people because you don't get it. And it's really big. That's the thing though about our. I will finish on this. Is like
Yeah.
that was where I was wrong. I think all of our community was wrong in taking that approach. It might have been fun, and we kind of were feeling like we were a part of something at that time, but it was really toxic, and it put out the wrong message to people. And we need to do better as we move forward in 2024 to be open, accepting, and say, hey, I'm not going to be a cunty motherfucker anymore.
Yeah. Is that my accent? It sounded very.
No, actually, it's kind of like an English one, but I really didn't. It really wasn't my Australian accent. I said I've been hitting the vape pen and drinking Coors Light today. So
I think, yeah, it's so true, because there is, like, especially if you spend a lot of time on Twitter, there's a lot of really big egos, and it's easy to get rolled up into that. It is. We're human beings. We tend to go with the majority. So it's just human nature. We just end up on this path, and you sort of lose oversight of the bigger picture. But I had a bit of a break from Twitter in 2023 as well, which was great. It was like very grounding. I needed to take myself out of that environment and stop reading like arguments with strangers on the internet at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Right. Why am I doing this to myself?
So I've definitely, it's been really good actually doing some more like real life stuff and getting in nature and not paying attention to, and kind of getting heated about things that don't involve me. So I definitely think 2024 is like it's going to be a good breath of fresh air, Matty, for all of us.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, and we can all sort of like succeed in a, like I call it the humble brag. We can be humble and successful at the same time.
Yep.
And it's a nice way to meet in the middle. We can sleep well at night and feel comfortable about ourselves.
Yeah. I love it. That's a great message. That is a great word of encouragement right there.
Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Well, thank you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon. And, I'm
going to go to the gym.
So oh, fantastic. Do some squats for me.
I will. And you enjoy your vape. Vape on.
I will. I'll vape and I'll have another Coors Light for you, friend.
Do it. Thank you.
All right. Cheers. Thanks so much.